I guess, when life actually begins, and the battle of the right of an unborn fetus versus a woman choosing what to do with her body. And there was a big long article. They had a bunch of statistics. I wrote them down. It says the most thing, and I don't know. So they said the most tragic thing nowadays that a woman has to worry about when she has an abortion is a mild infection. And in 2014, the Journal on Contraception found that safety of abortion is very high compared to plastic surgery, dentistry, biking, or running a marathon. So they said that, yeah, people are dying more in plastic surgery or at the dentist's office riding a bike or running a marathon rather than dying from abortion. And that was like some real stuff for me to think about. And yesterday's show, the One Man Team Talk Show.
Wait.
What?
That's crazy.
He said that's crazy. I mean, statistics, 2014 Journal.
Now, how do those statistics work? Because an abortion is ending life. I guess, if you can't describe when life begins. So some people say it begins at conception, some people say here, and they're saying there's more deaths occurring in marathons than abortions. I beg you different.
Well, yeah, because you're saying you're killing the fetus or the baby, so something's automatically dying. But I'm thinking about the saying that the person who's going through the procedure is
safer for the mother.
Yeah, safer for the moms. Yeah.
You want to speak on that? Yeah, I don't know much about this, but I heard something about this here, and what I heard was that this is going to have some far-reaching effects when it comes to abortion clinics. A lot of those clinics will be closing them because now they'll probably be able to do the abortions right there in the hospital and stuff. So this will put a lot of people that's working in those clinics out of jobs and stuff. I don't like to really make a connection between money and life, but basically that's what it's going to come down to. They don't have to go to the clinic. They can go and get this done on their insurance policy probably, or something like that. And that question on when does life begin, that's a theological, philosophical question, I guess you would call it. So I don't know when life begins. I think it just begins right when it starts, when the egg is fertilized by the sperm. I think that's enough to start something.
Facts.
I don't know what that life's going to be like, but then on the other hand, when they say now is this a viable entity and can it give something to the community? Well, not yet, but it can spread a little bit of joy and love to the parents, or maybe not to the parents if they don't want it. So that's a real complicated type of issue and stuff. I'm kind of leaning for they don't need to have these abortion clinics all over the place if you can do it right in the hospital and stuff. I think that they'd be safer in the hospital even if the risk to the mother is low. It still, I believe it would be a safer environment for them to be able to do it right in the hospital.
Well,
they used to do it in the hospital.
I think the clinics will always be valuable because they don't only do abortion, they do a bunch of other things that black women need. You know what I mean? But this is a conversation I think that I personally think men should even jump into and have, and it should be a woman's choice. Ultimately, it should be a woman's choice. But when is a baby, a fetus turns into a baby?
When life begins.
When life begins, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
still a woman's choice.
I don't know, man. Does it begin right when the guy's having fun? I don't know, right? But on this it says 18 days of baby heart beats, 8 weeks of organs of function, 9 weeks it has an individual fingerprint, 10 weeks a baby can feel pain, 12 weeks a baby can smile. So this was on American Across America profile. I don't know how viable this site is, but it seems to be pretty accurate. But he said 94% of women regret their decision after they abort too. It says that too. But I mean, I can see that happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But like at the end of the day, I'm big on pro-choice because like, all right, say if the woman's forced to have the baby, right? You know, at the end of the day, the baby can be a great person or can be a bad person, right? You know what I'm saying? But what is factual, we're gonna have to pay for that baby. Taxpayers, we, you know what I'm saying, are gonna have to pay for that baby. And I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that. If that person doesn't want to have a baby, individual, their own preference. You know what I'm saying? If the hospital says this is the proper time to have the abortion, if you reach those standards, if you go over those months, of course, or whatever weeks it is, of course you can't have the baby. But if you're under them standards that the hospital and DPH and other people that are professionals more than me say this is the time where you could have abortion and this is the cutoff time, hey, I'm for it. I didn't study this. I didn't go to school for this, and I don't think I can have that much of an opinion on it without sounding too stupid.
But
Right?
I think we talked about it yesterday. I want to hear Penny's opinion because I ain't gonna do it. I had some girls talk about it, but there is a regulation about a 3-month rule. So like after 3 months, they say that the risk of that abortion messing with the woman, you know, it becomes higher and higher. But Penny, how do you feel about pro-choice?
Or abortion itself.
Or abortion, yeah.
I feel like we can't know anybody's personal life circumstances. We can't dig into it and make decisions based on personal life, decisions, choices, circumstances. It's not our place to make any choice for any person. I think that we can make regulations on what practices are safe for a hospital, what's safe for a clinic. But really, it's up to anybody to make their own decisions for their life. And abortions nowadays are, might be as easy as just taking a pill. And if that's really going to make someone's life easier to live, if it's going to make them able to live their life the way that they want to live it, then I'm all for that.
Wow. So I was just listening to that. I was thinking when you said just as easy as taking a pill and stuff like that. I don't think that the taxpayer should pay for somebody else's contraception. To tell you the truth, I believe a woman should have the right to choose if she wants to have that baby or she doesn't want to have the baby. But I don't think that it can be used so that just like a morning after pill or something like that.
Whatever.
Because I don't want to pay for it.
Man,
I don't know that you are paying for it. A lot
Yeah.
of these clinics are funded
Cash,
by
yeah.
donations.
Yeah, but if the clinics go away because of this ruling, then I got to pay for it with the taxes.
I don't think the clinics are gonna go away. I
You
don't
pay
know why
for-
you have that idea that the clinics will go away because of this ruling. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
these
what it-
clinics have multiple things that they provide other than just contraceptive.
Yes,
I
I'm
mean,
tired.
I'm making
in
a
women's bodies, there's a
speculation,
whole lot of things.
speculation.
They be having parenting things in these centers and everything. But
Why do you need a parenting thing if you're going to get rid of the baby? There's
it's
a lot
not-
of confliction going on here.
Super joke, because this building doesn't say we only do this. You know what I'm saying? They do a wide other things for women. You know what I'm saying? Including parenting, like so you can go there to figure out what type of pill you need for contraceptive, whatever, or not have a baby, or
I
that
can
can be
live
your
with
personal care doctor could be.
I can live with all those things like that. But women, I must confess, I'm going to confess, and I must say this, I want all the women out there to know, you can do all that stuff, and for all you women that have babies, the only thing I object to, no breastfeeding in public.
Wow.
I know we had this. I know we had a conversation before, and it's like, so you're. So for women's in public, and she happens to feed her baby, it's obviously a time when she has to feed her baby. I don't think she's gonna say, you know what? Instead of being in my house, instead of being in a private place, I want to be in public feeding the baby. So it's the circumstances. Like you're saying, like the baby could die if not getting fed, and you're fine with that? Like that's crazy, yo.
No, see,
Fine,
I don't want to
taking
go
a pill,
into
like,
that. That is going to be scary. Why Troop don't want
Okay.
public breastfeeding? I do not
Nah,
want
you can go into. What do you
that's-
think about that?
No, he asked Troop why, not
Yeah,
I don't
I
want to
don't
know
know
why.
I want to know why, True.
What is it?
Why Troop?
Yeah, you can talk.
Because I don't want to be just witnessing this lady with a baby's head stuck on her chest or
Close your
anything.
eyes.
Yo, why I
Walk away.
gotta come by?
See, exactly, because he want to look. He want to be like, oh,
That
what-
just means that you want to look.
And then what if I do
I
take
wanna
a
look.
Now what?
If you
I
wanna
could
look,
I could
look,
be
I'm a
branded
human.
a
Yeah.
pervert
Don't
or
wanna look,
something
don't
like
look.
that. No, don't breastfeed in public. We just don't do that.
Man,
You
that
know,
was- That's
there's
mad
plenty of-
disrespectful.
there's
I don't know
plenty
why
of
you don't think
homes
that's all that's
y'all
disrespectful
can
to
go,
women. Like that's
y'all can go and
that's
do the
crazy.
pumps and all those things and put the baby's food in the bottle and carry it with you. And just be, no.
You see?
Yeah.
Not only that it discouraged women to do that, which is actually way healthier to do that than getting formula. You know what I'm saying? When it's crazy because in America we have these ideas which come from men usually, right? Because men rule the world, right? So when you say things like that and you promote that, now it's like you're gonna make women uncomfortable to feed their kid. That's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to say, hey, look at public, look at my. It's not a strip joint. You know what I mean? Like they're just trying to feed their kid.
I think the thing too is that for some reason in especially, well, not just in Western societies, in most societies where men are present, patriarchal societies, there's a over sexualization of women, and just like, all right, they have breasts, all right, they have nipples, I have nipples, you know what I mean? Some guys have breasts, you know what I mean? They
Yes,
might as well
here.
have breasts, you know what I mean? But and honestly, like feeding your baby, I mean, that's a beautiful thing, and it shouldn't be sexualized. People should, I personally believe,
Especially if you sexualize it.
yeah. I mean, that's a connection between a mother and her, you know, offspring, and I think that should be celebrated, you know. And I think in a lot of cultures it is, you know, it's totally normal. But for some reason here we have, it's really weird. In the Western world, we criticize, you know, places like the Middle East for being like they're like trying to cover the women, and because they're over sexualizing the women in one way, and so like, you know, like skin, so they're like, oh, cover up. Over here we're like the opposite. We like over sexualize them in, like, you know, by wearing less. You know what I mean? And so like now when you see any, you know, now you see the breast, which is like, you know, the golden thing or something, like people, you know, freak out and it's like, no, that should be done in private or something. But it's just a big body, you know. To me, it's no different than a finger. Like, you know, if I saw Keith's nipple right now, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like.
Oh, true. I didn't know what your favorite body
I
part
want
is.
to go back to the contraceptive
And
thing.
also, oftentimes too, you won't even see the nipple.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's ways.
Unless you're trying to look.
Just the areola, and that's enough for me. Areola.
Unless you're trying to see something around like,
I mean, I've breastfed my child in public loads of times, and I've gotten people who have stared at me and given me dirty looks, and that's their choice, and I make my choice, and I can make a choice to feel bad about that and feel like I'm doing something wrong, but I know that I'm doing something right, and I know that I'm doing something that's empowering my child and empowering other women around me to make the right choice. And I think any adult who is made uncomfortable by breastfeeding can make the choice to walk away.
Applaud that.
look the other way.
I'll give you an amen to that too, but if you breastfeed in public, I won't give you any dirty looks or anything. I just don't like women breastfeeding in public. I don't think it's necessary. Maybe back in the olden days it was necessary. Even in the olden days, I come from an Indian reserve. The women don't breastfeed in public in the Indian Reserve. They go to the woman's tent if they're going to breastfeed and stuff. They take themselves out of the
Once they're
social
on a long
environment.
journey through the village and they're walking, and during that process they might have to breastfeed their kid.
I would actually
Put the
counter that
tent
argument.
down.
I would say back in the days, it was more likely that you would be able to do it in private because women, I mean, if you want to say back in the day, they had different roles. Men had different roles, you know what I mean? But nowadays, where half the time the man's not even in the picture, the woman's got to be at work. She maybe has to go, you know, City Hall, pay a ticket, whatever, do this or do that. So she has her baby on her shoulders. The baby's crying. You got to feed the baby. What more natural way to feed your baby than just like, I mean, for me, than, you know, feeding her through your own body. I mean, to me, that's a miracle. Like,
I know I'm gonna get beat up by a whole bunch of women. But
and some men maybe too, but.
to me,
They should
you
keep it
can
real, though.
you can prior planning on your part at home. You can pump it out, freeze it, and bring it with you.
Pump
to
it
the,
out, freeze it. Oh,
and,
come on, man.
and bring it with you. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody's happy, especially Trooper Joe, because everybody knows Trooper Joe don't like no breastfeeding.
Yeah, you just so desensitized. Pump it out, freeze it. Like you're talking about a human being now. You're not talking about a cow. Like let's milk the cow. You know what I mean? No, man. Stop that,
Frozen
man. He said pump it out, freeze it. Like women just supposed to be getting milked. And come on, baby, it's milking time. You know we gotta milk you for a month now, cause you know we don't want to. You know, it's crazy.
I ain't even going all that.
I have seen something where we were going to talk. I want to go back to contraception, and birth control
Contraceptives.
pills,
Yeah, let's get off these.
abortion and stuff like that.
Yeah, you crazy.
But like there's this meme that's out where it's actually is a picture and it says there's more control over this than there's control over this. And the first picture of it is a girl's private part, and the other picture is of a gun.
A gun?
So
And they
there's
say
more
there's
control
more
over
control
a
over
woman's
this.
private part
Whoa,
than guns.
that's.
That's
So-
deep. That's true.
That's the
this-
lamest.
It's true.
Will say it's lame, but this is what annoys me. Though, why? Because like we have two situations, two situations where it's affecting America. You see, like you have abortion is high in America, like a whole real high, right? But then you got killings of guns is high too as well, right? But like, what's more important to address? So we have this happen in Texas, right, and stuff like that. And this will be a big issue. A lot of Christians have these ideas where will try to say, you know what, they'll try to have that individual and decide what that individual woman should do with her thing, on so many other levels, right? Not only abortion, but gun control, like something simple that, not even say control all guns, like basic common sense changes to background checks and stuff like that, you know what I mean? That need to be addressed in America. There's obviously, and maybe the capacity of guns need to be looked at, you know what I'm saying? Where Democrats had to sit in, which I thought that was a fake fraud anyways, the Democrats sitting in though, on the thing. But when you have this, like why is this important? Well, shouldn't that be more important? And then the gun, then this thing that happened in Texas. How come Texas don't have a gun control lobby or
A gun
whatever?
control law.
Well, for a certain culture, it is. It is easier for them to get caught. You know what I mean? To get guns and to sit there and pass laws to control women. You know, that's my reality.
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
nuts.
probably easy to do that, but I'm saying like, what's more of an issue to talk about and represent? you know?
Right now, I would say pro-choice. I say women. Shouts out to Dynamy and what is it? The young women from Black Legacy Presents. What is it? Jay Lee, Tiffany, Pearl, and Denasia. They was on the show yesterday, and it was they was really like, do we really know the world we live in, yo? Like, it's really about like it being masculine and hypersexuality, and and then the penalties. Like, let's look at crime, like how rape is just being so overlooked and not even punished in a severe way, as if let's say you go in and sell some drugs. Just think about that. Like, I have a daughter. Troop got a daughter. Nate got a daughter. So just that reality that, my daughter is being looked at as, an item, material. And we don't do nothing about that, So we talked about the college boy who got 6 months for raping a chick behind the dumpster, and he got caught.
What's his name, bro?
Yeah, so it's like, come on, this is crazy, son. Like, how we just are just the way.
Well, I mean, that had a lot to do with
Guys wanna say?
white privilege too, because like there's another case where this brother that went to
Oh, yeah, but his brother, yeah.
I think
Saw that.
Louisville State or something,
Yeah.
college, whatever, and he was a prime athlete, and they ended up smoking him, giving him the highest charge that you could get for rape. You know what I'm saying? But that's a white male. You know what I'm saying? So it's twofold. It's like women's rights and it's about white privilege that brought incidents.
Well, I was just gonna say too. I don't know who it was who. It doesn't matter who he raped, right? But I'm assuming it was, and I know this is a bad assumption, but it was a white woman. So if you just look at the societal context of that, throughout history, yeah, he's gonna get, it's gonna be an
Yeah.
unfair advantage, and it shouldn't be obviously, but and it doesn't matter.
Medgar Evans,
You know,
yeah.
you know, both those guys should be. I mean, yeah, I mean, if they should be put behind bars for a long time, and maybe you know they'll receive the same payment later on. But you know,
And that's another American perception. So we go back to Medgar Evans, right? How he didn't even do anything. It was perceived that he said something to a white woman or did something to a white woman, had nothing to do with it. They hung him. You know, they did him dirty.
That wasn't
And then
Medgar
at
Evans. That was what was not
That was Medgar Evans.
Emmett Till.
Emmett Till. Oh, my
Emmett
God.
Till.
Oh, Emmett Till.
That was Emmett Till.
Emmett Till didn't get hung. He got beat up and thrown in the river and
Yeah,
stuff.
but Medgar Evans.
Medgar Evans
was more
got
like-
he got
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 shot.
all kind of shot and beat
Yeah.
up and hung and everything like
That
that.
was more
He was a
60s Black
representative.
Panther.
But
Type
but
era.
that's that perception of black men, you can't rape, you know, and this is what happens along the lines of history. White men, go ahead and do what you gotta do. Just, you know, just don't get caught up in none of the crazy stuff. And we're gonna be lenient, you know, when it comes time to being faced with your penalty.
I agree. Anybody who's a predator or animal enough to rape somebody is they need to go to jail for quite a long time. And maybe when they're in jail, they need to be talking to Big Tukey or something like that. You know, whatever his name is. They need to talk to somebody.
I thought it was Bubba.
I thought it was Bubba.
Yeah, go back to Bubba.
They need to talk to somebody while they're in there. They need to understand that that's not an unacceptable thing on any level, on anything. Doesn't matter about what your nationality, what your color is. That is something that shouldn't be tolerated any place, in any country, in any spot in the world, is that. But to talk about that, the comparison between the woman's vagina, that's a good word, and weapons and stuff like that. One's I'll just stay on the weapons, cause I ain't going over the other part.
Please
I
don't.
done
You
beat
already-
up
you already
enough.
did
Yeah, well, you already dug yourself a hole.
Keep on digging, I say.
About that hole.
That's a
But
positive.
I would talk on the weapons. See, the weapons used to be, the culture of weapons in the United States used to be a big culture. And they never lost that feeling of it being a culture. Weapons were used as protection when they first came over here. You know, they had to range around and do all this protecting of their own environment because they had animals. They didn't come over here just to be farmers in the first instance. They came over here and they had animals. So they had to protect their herd. Anybody can come in and steal an animal. So you had to have a weapon to protect that there. So the weapon was integrated into society just alongside that with the horse. You know, and I'm gonna stay with that. When the horse was stole, you shoot the horse guy. You know, you hang him. You do all these violent things like that. So like I said, the weapon became part of society. Now the horse, he morphed into a truck. You know, and now there was really no need to protect your animals and your husband, or however you say that word, from predators and stuff, but people still did. But the guns morphed into a culture that was more for shooting and hunting and those type of things like that. They were long barrel guns and stuff. They weren't automatic weapons. Those were definitely used for war. They weren't small concealed weapons. Those are only used to shoot somebody. Ain't much you can do with that, you know, try to show off for a girl or a guy or whatever you want to show off all your masculinity. But that's how the thing morphed into that and stuff like that. So I can't see a connection between a woman and a weapon, because like I said, the weapon throughout time, the culture changed. No longer do they see the weapon as a sport. It's now a phallic symbol, like a Harley Davidson, you know, a big hog sitting between your legs and revving it up, you know. You don't get any more masculine than that. So now you strap a 6 on you, and you're quick drawing. Shoot, you ain't nothing but a superhero now. So that's the way I feel about the weapons and stuff like that. It became the culture, and it was integrated into the culture because of you had to protect what was theirs, because it was easy to steal animals. It ain't easy to steal corn. You might get away with 1 or 2 corns, you know, or wheat or something like that, but it's real easy to steal a cow or a horse or something like that. But when that became non-existent, the weapon itself went into, like I said, it went into something that was more aligned with hunting in a club type of atmosphere, and they would do this on the range and shoot and do all that thing.
but then it got away from that, now it's gone into just madness.
And then they
Yeah.
have guns to protect from people. The people protect themselves from the government. You know, the tyranny, whatever. Wasn't
Nah,
that a big reason why
they
people
had-
wanted the Second Amendment right?
The
to
Second
carry weapons?
Amendment, the Second Amendment right to bear arms was because of the British. You know, and we were under attack. We had British, we had Spanish, we had the French, we had the Indians. All the people around, you know, they were always under attack at the time, so they had to form civilian type armies and secret type societies like the Sons of Liberty and all these people like that would get together and protect the people.
This is my theory on the guns. See, they was protecting themselves against the British at one point, right?
Yeah.
That was the enemy, right? So now the enemy is people of color. It's people that's different between different other than the white race that has maintained power in America for centuries, and they want to make sure they keep that power. So they're gonna understand that, you know, they look in the Chicago paper, see 3 people got killed in the hood in Chicago, and black people got killed. They're like, you know what? I gotta make sure I'm safe, so I'm gonna get a bigger gun. I'm gonna get the biggest guns, and you know what? We're gonna be able to get our pickings of guns. Why? Because we ain't gonna have no. We can get a what's it, license to carry firearms, and a FID card and stuff like that. We can get these things without no malice, without, you know, really. Our background's gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? These cats are not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I see them shooting each other. You know, so I'm scared. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna have 10, 20 weapons inside my home. You know what I'm saying? And make sure, and you know, and I think those people that have power, mainly white people. I'm not saying all white people. Most of them understand that, you know, a group of people been oppressed for a long time, and at some point, you know, if you keep smacking somebody in the face, they're gonna smack back. And I think that they're just understanding that, you know what? Let's be heavenly artillerized. Is that a word? Let's have a lot of weapons just in case they revolt on us, and we'll be good. You know what I'm saying? I'll take my 9-year-old son down to the shooting range with a SK and hope he perfects his shot. And you know, and I think that's the real reason why
It's
guns
it's a
out of
sport now.
control like this, and they're never gonna start putting barriers on the guns because they understand they don't want to level that playing field. You know what I'm saying? They want to make sure that they have the most guns.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I agree almost pretty much 100% with your observation of that. I think that a lot of the white people are innately scared of black people. And I think there's an implicit bias that they've created on their own selves to think that, well, yeah, I better have something to protect myself from all the minorities because they're coming to kill me. You know, it's like they put this bias on themselves. They've so much convinced themselves that they are that special person that this is going to happen. And then they subjected it to their kids so much that their kids didn't have a choice on whether they were going to believe this or not. Now the kids are full grown.
Yeah.
So now those full grown people are the ones that are buying all these guns and all this stuff to protect themselves from the bad minority, which is like, this is just crazy.
And the
You
media
know,
does
but
a lot.
I agree with you 100%.
The media does a lot with just
Oh,
like, you know,
media forced it on them.
Islamic phobia that's going on. Like, you know what? Like, they come to get us. Like, we gotta be prepared. Like, you know, it's all facade. Black people, you know, statistically, we kill each other more than we kill our white counterparts. And the same thing with white people. White people kill white people at a higher rate than a black person will kill a white person. So
Yeah.
it's all just like being scared of media and what the media pumps and what society is pumping to us, and what just the facade. Like, more people are gonna get shot up and get killed if we don't do something with making some common sense changes to the guns that the gun laws.
Well, yeah, I definitely think the media. I think at 9/11, when 9/11 happened, the influence of news or the influence of, let's say, an anchor, or I think it was pretty much whoever writes the script, however they felt and the way they perceived the story and wanted people to know, it was about being scared of Muslims, being scared of blacks, It was about, listen, it's about now, I have to feel comfortable. In order for me to feel comfortable, I have to make you feel uncomfortable. And that gives me the head up or the one up on you. Because look at it now. I see posts about Fox News. It's like Fox is this white supremacist station. You got MSNBC. It's like, oh, they're in the middle. You got CNN, and it's like, yo, for real? These are who people listen to every day. Don't get up off the couch. And it's like I'll leave and go to my grandmother's house, and she'll be so in her emotions about the election. And I'm like, change the channel. Stop watching news. And she's like, no, if Trump wins, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kill myself. And I'm like, yo, Mom, they want you to feel this way. And it's not real because it's all propaganda.
I only got one more comment before I pass it over to our guests and stuff like that. How come nobody's, the Asian people really don't care about none of this stuff going on? I don't hear anything.
Asians?
Yeah, I don't hear anything about the Chinese communities
They take care
and
of themselves.
populations.
Because we owe them money.
Hearing it all, what's going on, and they living right here next door. They're down the street, a whole big community of them, with big houses and have festivals like everybody else. But it's like they're not engaged in any of this kind of craziness and stuff. So maybe we need to take a little lesson from them people sometimes and stop all this silly biases and all this victimization, self-imposed victimization we put on ourselves, and this
Facts.
implicit bias
I
that we
disagree.
put on ourselves. I think
I disagree,
I think we need to
Only-
cool that down a little bit.
Only reason why I disagree.
Well, I got one more thing to say, and for all you people with the guns, if you come at me with it, I don't carry a gun and everything, but I will take yours away and I will beat you to death with it. I won't shoot you, but I will beat you to death.
Dang.
Oh, God.
Well,
I
disagree.
Play my music.
I
Play
really
the warrior
I really
song.
disagree with the victimization part, Super Joe, because I know where you're coming from when you talk about victimization.
Oh, you're
And-
supposed to know.
You know what Asians are good at?
What?
Asians are good at. Oh, let me be concerned with.
Living life.
You can say that,
Okay.
and not really concerned about the social issues that's going on. And to tell you the truth, I don't see Asians getting shot by cops.
No.
A whole lot. You know what I mean?
No.
So, or I don't see Asians in the media getting portrayed in a bad light like black people do. You know what I'm saying? Or Latino or Muslims do, right? So I think Asians should be more vocal and be more talk about these issues, because at the end of the day, when we washed up, they'll be the next people that they're gonna try to get put down and be. But
When we wash up, what you talking about, Willis?
I'm not saying when we wash up. Like when there's no more people to pick, they'll be the next
There's always
ones.
going to be bookings. And to be truthful, it was intentional for
The now
blacks
the
to
now
be
is a
on the
little
other
bit off,
side.
but like only thing I'm trying to get across is that if it's an injustice to one person, it's an injustice to everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Asian population really speaks out on a whole lot of things that I think they should do more. But that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they're probably living a way better life than a lot of African
I think that's
Americans
just
with
perception.
buildings and houses. It is perception. I don't know if it's fact.
Because I got a lot of Vietnamese friends and they feel just like brothers. I got a lot of Asian people too. They feel like, they felt like, yo, we went through what the blacks are going through. We cool with the blacks. And they just don't. They're not really trying to ruffle any feathers, especially if they know blacks are intentionally being picked on. They don't want nothing. They don't want nothing. They don't want to be picked on.
That's not good.
I can dig that.
I think part of how you view Asians as being not very vocal and kind of like not engaged with what's happening. I think that part of it has to do with the American narrative of what Asians have been stereotyped as, which is the model minority, which is basically they're not white people, but they're close enough to white people. And they're subservient. There's a whole like fetishization of like Asian women because they're like so subservient. You know what I mean? And part of that has to go back maybe in Vietnam and even way before that.
Mongolia.
Yeah, if you want to go take that far. But and the other thing is too, they've been on the shit end of the stick, for like, if you want to go back to Vietnam, if you want to go to Japan, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. And I think the other thing is too, it's of course culture. Asian cultures are very, I find them to be very humbling, and it's also all about family, the nuclear family and extended family. And you see that it comes to Worcester too. Even you see Vietnamese brothers who they have it hard, Cambodian brothers, but they still got family, and they if they don't have their physical actual blood family, they create a family around them. You know what I mean? Just like African American brothers do, just like Latino brothers do. Just we all do that when we don't have our actual family. Whether it's a what do you say, a fraternity or a sorority or whatever.
I had a chick yesterday. She's Vietnamese, and she told her mother, the chick from Black Legacy, her name was Tiffany from Black Legacy Presents. She said, "Yo, I want to be a doctor." The mom was like, no, you gotta marry a doctor. And I'm like, yo, that is like so stereotypical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To the point she was like, no, I want to be a doctor. I don't want to marry a doctor.
Right.
And it's like, wow, people believe that perception of, that subservient. And it's like, man, it ain't real. It's not real. None of it is
That
real.
is real. A lot of the surgical residents are Asian descent. So that's a real kind of thing right there. Much more so than African American.
But you said surgical residents, right? How many of
That's
them
a
are
doctor.
women?
That's
How
a
many of
doctor.
them are women though?
All of them.
Exactly. So you understand?
No,
But the
no,
American
no,
perception
people
is
say-
not an Asian woman to be a doctor. The American perception is an Asian woman to be at home cooking, taking care of her family. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well, reality
so it goes
is
against the grain of
then
anything.
doctors, scientists, all kinds of things. And I think that little lady, she wants to be a biochemist, I think.
I talked to them, but you know what? Let's
What about the young lady over there?
Let's do a quick vocal
Children.
break and we'll be back.
And
We'll
then,
be back.
okay.
Vocal break.
And
And I
then
want
we'll
to get
talk
back.
about
I want to get into what you guys are doing. When we
The
come back,
farmers
right?
market, black seed market.
Thank you both for rocking back coming out.
It's the it's the greatest.
And I'm Trooper Joe, and I'm here to keep it real for you.
No, you can't be the greatest. Muhammad Ali's the greatest. Go ahead.
Yeah, and
Muhammad Ali.
my name's Ali.
Rest in
My
peace.
first name's Muhammad. I'm not the greatest.
Yo,
I'm definitely a hero, so I'll give it up for
You the greatest. You the greatest.
When you're on the show, you're the greatest.
the
Word.
I'm Penny. I'm here to talk about the Black Seed Market, which is going to be happening. Our grand opening is July 10th at the Worcester Islamic Center on East Mountain Street. What's really cool about this market is we are organizing. We're getting people at the ground level, small farmers, the immigrant farmers, the community members from Great Brook Valley, from Maine South, the people on the ground, gathered together just to meet up, get to know one another, exchange what we've got, buy produce, exchange ideas, exchange our crafts and our talents and our arts, and build a community around that, and a place where people can find the resources that they need to do what they do really well.
Alright. Do you want to explain a little bit about what's going on too? Before you get to questions.
Sure, I mean, Penny did an awesome introduction. July 10th, Sunday. It's gonna be every Sunday till October 30th, I believe.
Alright.
Is the last Sunday.
I have a quick question. Will I be able to pay for the produce with an EBT card?
Yeah, food stamps, CBT, SNAP, whatever you call it, we get those. We accept those. Credit cards, obviously cash, and also they give out senior coupons and women, infant, children with coupons. We also accept those. So we're really trying to make it accessible to everyone. If you don't know, 248 East Mountain Street is also the Worcester Islamic Center. It's a mosque, it's a masjid, and it's right next to Great Brook Valley. So there's multiple communities we can serve there. There's like 2 senior homes, across the way. There's a church across the way. They used to have a farmer's market, and the guy who ran that, he ended up passing away. So they're really excited to have us in the neighborhood. We're excited to invite them to come to the mosque. And then we have the Burncoat kind of neighborhood, if you take that right. And then you have, of course, Great Brook Valley. So there's a lot of people that we can serve, and honestly, we want everyone to come because, we're talking about guns and propaganda and what's happening in the media, and this just serves as another avenue for people to come to a mosque, meet Muslims that live and play and work in their communities that they might not even know they're Muslim. You know what I mean? Literally, you might see, we have a huge diversity in our mosque. We only have 2 mosques in Worcester, and at one point there was only one, and so I go to both. You know, I can't say that I go to one, but one thing that I really appreciate about mosques, at least in Worcester and in many places, they're super diverse. So you get people from the Ghana, from South Africa, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, from Anglo-Saxon Muslims, Hispanic Muslims, like everywhere. So, but more than that, I want to bring people who are not Muslims to the mosque to realize that we're all good. And at the end of the day, we're gathering around food. Everybody's got to eat, right? Everybody's got to eat, and making it accessible for everyone is like so.
Alright.
Yeah.
Shoot, Joe.
Yeah, I got now where the food come from?
All the food comes locally. It's from Massachusetts, maybe New York, but most of it is probably within 50 miles. I don't know. This is a fun fact. The average person's produce, like if you got it from like Shaw's or Star Market or whatever, travels 2,500 miles, 2,500 miles. So we're cutting that by way more than half, and supporting local economies in the process.
So a local farmer just brings their products to there and they set up a kind of a bin type display and sells their products to the people?
Almost. So they'll bring their produce to us and we sell it on behalf of them. So because Black Sea Farmers Market is being run by a nonprofit called Muslim Community Link, which its mission is to actually bring people who are on the outside of society, refugees, and bring them and kind of bring them into be more inclusive of everybody, not just refugees, but everybody in the community. And so my point in saying that was that we're bringing the farmers, whether they're refugee farmers or local mom and pop farmers, we bring them to the market and we're selling on behalf of for them, and we're taking some of the proceeds, and it's a non-profit organization, so it's a way for us to also raise money. So you're doing a good cause. And Muslim Community Link does a bunch of other programs too. We have a children's play group that anyone is welcome to. We actually even do like social service referral work too. So a lot of times we get refugees, they come here, they might be going through some some stuff with their spouse, or maybe they can't find housing, and so this really serves as another avenue for us to hopefully one day pay someone who can do this full time, because there's a huge refugee population in Worcester, whether or just international population, you know what I mean? So and they need a lot of help, and quite frankly, Worcester has the services available, but we could do a better job referring these people to these services, because they just don't know. They don't know, where can they get food? They might not even know about food stamps, about low-income housing, free clinics and checkups. The list goes on.
I have a question. Well, actually, it's a twofold question. Is there a registration to be able to shop there, and are the prices comparatively to like a Price Chopper or a Stop and Shop? Are they better prices or?
Correct. I think it would depend on the product. Most things you'll see, especially greens, it's like comparable, if not better. You don't have to register to shop there. No, you just show up.
Okay.
Yeah, just anybody can show up, and well, actually, hopefully, we're trying to get some people from the mosque to do like masjid tours, so that people can actually check out the mosque. But yeah, some things are going to be more expensive though, just because you're not supporting like huge mega corporation Monsanto, farm companies. You're literally supporting like somebody you could drive to like half an hour away, and they have like a little house and like a couple acres, and they're growing. So it's going to be a little bit more, but we're excited to announce that in 2017, unfortunately not this year, but in 2017, this is like a federal thing. If you use food stamps, they're actually like reimbursing you like 100%. So if you have, and it depends on your household size. So the more people you have in your household, I think 6 or more, you get up to $80. So if you get $80 worth of food, they just straight up give you $80 to use on your food stamps, which is like unheard of.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just wondering how the money gets dispersed to the refugees and stuff.
Right.
Somebody, I mean, but what I mean by that there, because I'm not, and I want to make everybody, all our listeners out there, know that I'm more talking about the refugees that's come over here with PhDs. And
yeah.
you know, the very, they were affluent back in, and they were the academics back in their land, and now they come over here and because they don't have the credentials of the Western society of the United States per se.
Right on.
So how does the food corp that you have going on there really be able to help those type of people, or is it just kind of so it can help the lower marginal type of people that really need subsistence type of
I know
of
I
help?
know so many people in that situation, or especially
Yeah,
like I know
I
a
know
teacher
a lot.
he was a teacher in Pakistan, and now he's here. And, you know, he doesn't have teaching credentials here, so it's kind of like, you know.
Yeah.
But so basically, all the money that we raise for, you know, from Black Sea Farmers Market is going to go towards paying a social worker, essentially.
Uh-huh.
And this social worker is going to help, you know, people, you know, whether they're educated or not, it doesn't matter. If they need help, we're going to refer them to the services that have help. Massachusetts is a great state. We have a lot of social services, you know, but just the thing is, a lot of people don't know. Even if you're educated, you know what I mean? You're not from, you know, this land. You know, if nobody's telling you, if you don't already have family here, how are you going to know? So the point is, you know, we already have organizations all across that they give you money, like, right? They just give you money for, like, you know, 1 month's rent. But chances are, and they might have, like, terms where, like, you can only get, you know, 1 month's rent once, or maybe once every couple months. But, like, chances are, if you're missing out on rent once, you're probably gonna miss it out again. So it's the whole concept of, like, teach a man, give a man a fish, he can eat one day. Teach a man how to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. Right?
I have a question.
I
I have Jenny answer this question.
Yeah.
It's a
Penny.
Penny, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a right wing question. I'm gonna hit you with a McCain,
Hit it with it.
a McCain Donald Trump type question. Don't be scared. All right.
Maybe.
All right. Nah. So I was gonna ask you. So, for all the people who might say these immigrants are taking, because you said there's services, we have a lot of services in Massachusetts, but you know, those are for citizens.
Mhm.
Those are for Americans, right?
Yeah.
So what do you say to the people who might say, hey, you know what? I don't appreciate those immigrants coming over here, taking our services, you know, or me donating to this farmers market where the money's gonna go to immigrants who are not even really part of this country.
Well, that's a really big topic. And the way I feel about it is they are Americans. They're people who are coming over here, and we're helping them get the services that they need to become citizens and become Americans. And I think that they should be valued as much as we're valued as Americans. To go back to your question, our biggest produce farm at the market is going to be the Newlands farm. They're super awesome because what they do is they provide space, education, resources for immigrants to farm. And that money goes directly to the refugees who are doing the work, who have got their hands in the soil. And, you know, and these people are people who were farming in their homeland. Now they're coming here. It's a different climate. It's a different economical climate. So they're being given the resources to flourish here, to grow their food. We're providing a market for them to come and sell it, and then that's their living.
So they just reestablishing their lifestyle that they had back in their native land over here, and you guys are helping that. And that's admirable. I think that's very admirable, actually, and I think that's going to have a great impact on the way people start seeing people around here. But you know, my question was more concerned because I know a few people who are people they put a lot of learning and educational development into their growth, and then when they came over here, they can't use their trade. Like my wife knows he was a doctor in his land. He's a nurse over here.
Dang, that's messed up.
Yeah,
That's messed
you know,
up.
it sounds messed up on the
Now we can
perspective
see
of
your name.
here, but it's really not that messed up if you look at the whole situation, because even as a doctor over there, he's not making the money he's making as a nurse over here and supplying for his family. And so I was wondering if your organization has some kind of means to educate the people on the different opportunities that are available to them over here, you know, and how they can juxtapose some of their education and onto those different opportunities.
We only got a couple minutes.
Yes,
man.
it's a farmer's market. It's a Black Sea farmer's market. It's nothing to do with jobs, man.
We're
Well, actually, that's not
everything.
true.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but
No,
at the
well,
end of
let
the
me
day.
just say that, 'cause you just said jobs, right? This is something that I wanna bring up. We actually, are hiring a bunch of youth. So to help work the farmer's market, but also we're having a soccer program that, you guys are yelling at that.
No, you good.
Good job.
We're having a soccer program then, and it's actually being run by a Clark student he's already been doing the soccer program throughout the city of Worcester. And so what we're gonna be doing actually at the mosque during the same time the farmers market is going on. So we have plans to hire, I think, 6 to 8 youth, and some of that money is actually coming from Worcester Community Action Council, and we got grants from other places as well. And so the idea is that he's gonna train some of these youth into like how to coach soccer. And we're gonna take these youth and they're gonna be like, you know, kind of like certified soccer coaches, and they can go out either with him in his other endeavors throughout the city, or you know, they can help go other communities and do that. And on top of that, we'll be having youth be working directly with our farmers market. The time will be split up between that and soccer if they want to do that.
That's awesome.
So we're hiring. So I mean, you know, people rally around like green jobs. Yes, we need green jobs and we need money for youth. But like, if there's no programs for green jobs to be implemented, like you're just screaming for no reason. So we need more programs like this. I also want to speak about kind of like what Penny and I have to bring to the table. So I've been working with the Regional Environmental Council for, you know, like 10 years on and off now. I've been doing farmers markets there. My mother actually helped start that farmers market. And so her idea, Black Sea Farmers Market was another great idea of hers. And so I'm taking my experience of like 2+ years in the farmers market, and driving around the Boulder market, doing the May South farmers market, and bringing it here as just the manager, just, you know, doing daily transactions. So bringing that former knowledge base and bringing it to my, you know, Muslim community, but then inviting everyone, all the local communities around it, to come through and really like share in the celebration of food, really. But I want to talk about what Penny, because Penny has some pretty cool experience.
I know we only got like 45 seconds left.
Go, Penny, go.
This is like my life coming full circle for me. Like, I lived in this area. I moved when I was in my early 20s to Oregon to learn how to farm, how to grow food. I got really involved in the Lane County Farmers Market in Eugene, Oregon. Worked there for about 6 years, learned how to manage a market, and now I'm here. I'm back in my community, doing what I meant to go learn how to do, and it feels really good.
So check out that. Go ahead.
So Black Seed Farmers Market, grand opening July 10th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 248 East Mountain Street. We're gonna have lots of cool kids games and perhaps a bouncy house.
Be there or be square.
Yeah.
Black Seed
Black Seed.
Farmers Market.
Alright, and what day? Tell us the day when it's open and everything again.
July 10th.
July 10th.
Sunday, July 10th, and then Sundays 10 to 2 food season through October.
Address.
248 East Mountain Street.
Alright, we out of
Worcester
here.
Islamic Center.
Alright, we out of here. 91.3 WCW Voiceless.
No shout-outs?
Peace. Thanks for Ali and Penny. Ali. Like Muhammad. Ali. Muhammad. Not Ali. You.
Yeah.
No, leave me alone.